Hey there, YouTube, slasher chicks and slasher dudes. My name is Alicia, and this is Slasher Chick TV. Over here, we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And while otherwise YouTube intros are a no in 2024, if you're on the live stream, you got to say something as soon as the thing turns on. So, hello, intro it is. Now, if you're looking at the banner, it says day 49 of 90 consecutive days of live streaming. And I think I may have gotten a little ahead of myself because I could have sworn I was on 50. So we're going to test that assumption. And I'm going to go back to my video from yesterday and check and see what day am I on. Hey, oh, I didn't mean to hide that because you might want another YouTube name that like is just a different, it's like Queen T or something to that effect. But I know you out there. Thank you. Um, but I was checking to see, am I on day 49 or 50? And I think it might actually be 49 and not 50, which is fine. But it means I was wrong. So let me just see what yesterday's live said. Hold on. Oh yes, yeah, yesterday was day 48, so that makes it only day 49, not day 50 like my previous video from earlier today says. And I was just recapping though what I've learned so far on this journey of going live for 49 consecutive days and what I hope to take into the second half of this challenge to make it a bit easier and then the evolution of my channel. But today, on Win Wednesday, I was inspired by the recent news of Megan the Stallion selling out Madison Square Garden for her Hot Girl Summer concert. Now, apparently, she's only the second female rapper to ever do this, and I don't know who the first one is. I only did cursory research, so I didn't find that out. Put who you would guess it is in the comments. I'm gonna assume Lil Kim. I mean, it's New York. I don't know, but at any rate, it made me think about one of the important things in negotiation, which are um, relevant standards. And hey, Coach Sherry, and the reason why it made me think of relevant standards is because those are the things that will let you know, are you getting a good deal per se. And I was thinking about what would I talk about on Win Wednesday, and I looked up on Reddit here this I thought about that, but Roxanne Shante selling out Madison Square Garden, I don't herself, I don't know. And here's why I say I don't know, Coach Jerry. Because at that time, rap would have still been relatively new to the point. Like I don't know if if Roxanne Shante is filling Madison Square Garden. But shout out to Roxanne Shante because there would be no Megan the Stallion had Roxanne Shante not walked, so Megan could run. But with her selling that out, that's a relevant standard for in the future when she goes to negotiate and she's able to talk about her value. No one can deny that that's a valuable stat. So, in other cases, what would be considered a relevant standard is like, what can we both agree on to determine is this agreement we're about to go into fair? So, like, for example, you get pulled over by a cop, and the cop says, yeah, Lil Kim was my guest, Coach Sherry. You get pulled over by a cop, and the cop says, you were speeding, and you say, no, I'm not. That's a negotiation, technically, right? But what is the relevant standard in this case is the law. What is the speed limit? That's the relevant standard. If you are um, purchasing a home, relevant standards might be the comps in the area. Hi, Marlene. So that would include recent, what were the recent prices that other homes in the area sold for? That's now a relevant standard for when we negotiate for us to determine if it's fair. So, Megan the Stallion selling out Madison Square Garden is now an established relevant standard for her future negotiations, and any potential venue or label or whomever that goes to negotiate with her. And thank you, Marlene, because I always forget to do this. But if you don't mind, hit the like button. It's a way of saying, hey, what's up, Alicia? I appreciate chatting with you this evening. This is the challenge with live. I was going to, be camera ready and everything today, but yeah, it was a long day and I still just had to show up for myself. So that's what I had to do. I don't know if Cardi B sold it out before Megan Thee Stallion, but if Megan Thee Stallion was only the second, yeah, we don't. I don't know. Maybe I'll find out before the end of this live stream. Um, but another example of relevant standards, yeah, as it relates to rappers would be, or any other performer, would be Billboard charts. If that is considered success in the industry where you chart on the billboards, then it's a relevant standard when you go to negotiate. One of the videos I'm going to do at some point is everything I need to know about negotiation I learned from hip hop. And because Cardi B has a line that's one of my favorite examples of relevant standards. She says, I walk into the label, where to check at? Cardi B is on the charts. You can expect that. Meaning, when I go in to negotiate with a label, every time I produced music in the past, it charts on the Billboard charts. We can both agree that that is a relevant standard, that where the conversations about my worth have to start. You cannot attempt to negotiate with me like I'm some new artist looking for a break. Because when I walk into the label, where to check at? Because I'm on the charts and you can expect that. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a relevant standard. Let me think of other examples of relevant standards in in hip hop. Because I think, there's a lot of them there uh, that would exist as examples. I don't know. I'm gonna have to continue to flesh that idea out for a future example. Because another one I have is there's one where Big Sean and Big Bank, and it starts where she says, "What you gonna do if I leave?" Sean says, "I'm gonna do me." And that's his BATNA. That's his best alternative to a negotiated agreement is keep doing the same thing he already doing. Honey, you can leave. It's not a better deal. And if your BATNA is better than what's being offered to you, you should never take the deal. That's another example of how you can learn about relevant standards or other negotiation uh, vocabulary and concepts from hip hop. Well, you can learn about it from everything. Y'all know I like to talk about this because I think everything's a negotiation, everything's negotiable. So that's why I like to find things that can be referenced back to, like, look at this from the aspect of a negotiation. Um, and that's why, like Coach Cherry said, I love negotiating deals and figuring out which deal is best for. And I'm going to fill in the blank here and make some assumptions at what she's saying here. Because you're not only trying to figure out which deal is best for you, You're trying to figure out which bill is best for the other party so that maybe I can like offer that before they even get to it. But why I like to talk about principle based negotiations too is like you're also, trying to think about what deal is best in um, for the world in the end, right? Also, like what's kind of the most still the most ethical and honorable choices we can make in this deal for both parties so that all of our needs are met. Um, Now, hip hop deals can be who they get to represent them. That happens in sports too. That brings me to another point that is technically, um, is one of the aspects of negotiation. Before you even get to the table, right relationship is an aspect of that negotiation that has to be considered before you're going into it. And so when Coach Sherry uses the example of like who's going in to represent them, um, that person's reputation or the perception of them in that industry is now a factor in that negotiation. It has to be considered. It's not going to necessarily, well, depending on who's negotiating for you, it could determine it all, right? Like if you have to send Puffy to Nick Puffy, when's the last time somebody called him that? But if you had to send him in right now to negotiate for you, it may completely determine the outcome of the deal. But in other cases, it's maybe just one perhaps data point, but it is still a factor. And relevant standards come into that play too, right? If, let's say, the industry standard is typically managers take 20%, but this manager has a reputation to be known for taking 30, the fact that they have a reputation for violating what is a relevant standard to be considered fair is now a factor in that negotiation that one must consider when trying to negotiate with that person. So those are just a couple of aspects, but ultimately what I like to talk about is the relationship and communication before you get in. Um, your options, interest, and then relevant standards are what you use to determine, are the options and interests that we've discussed, are those things fair? And is this potential agreement we have now better than my alternative to this agreement? So, yeah, that's also a good point too. You have to consider that agent circle of influence with teams and owners too, um, or potentially lack thereof, and how that could potentially impact you. And hopefully, if you've got someone that's negotiating on your behalf and they're maybe new, so they don't have a lot of influence necessarily yet, or they are just establishing themselves. Hopefully, you get someone that is has relationships at the forefront of their mind from the very beginning, knowing that they are currently establishing something for their future self. And maybe that's related but unrelated. Maybe that's why I kept saying today was day 50 and not day 49, because that was me and my future self uh trying to coach myself into getting there. I don't know. I don't know why I had 50 in my head. Or it might have also been because I was originally planning to post that video on another day, um, and then decided to go ahead and do it today because it was finished. I don't know. I don't remember now. This is why it helps to have a plan. So I I might have been wrong, Coach Sherry, when I said, no, I think you're ahead. Because I was wrong about my own days. So I could have been padding your days too. But yes, heavy hittedly, it's still almost there. Oh, it's still over 50%. So It's a milestone nonetheless. And milestones should be celebrated. That's another reason I like to talk about growth mindset, because the growth mindset not only encourages, it's not just about the goal and getting there, it's about the effort, and the milestones you reach along the way. So you still got to take time to celebrate them. And yeah, that's exactly what it is, Coach Jerry, because I knew we were 3 days off too. So when I was telling you, like, no, yeah, double check, I think you're ahead. It was sincere. I was not trying to sabotage you. That is for sure. Um, but I somehow, some way, was just adding days. And I'm not, one thing I have considered trying, I said I was going to try doing it in the morning. And then another thing I think I might do is, there are some evenings, unfortunately, that midnight hits and I'm still awake. So I'm like, well, if I just go live, that counts as that day, and I could scratch it off and maybe use that to catch up. I don't know. What I do know is that I don't have to work on Friday, um, as far as my regular full time job. And Monday is Memorial Day, and I don't have a lot, like, oh wait, I do have plans, but it's like plans for like 2 hours. I'm not gonna be at the barbecue all day on Monday. So I don't have to worry about that. So it'll be a great time to reset and reevaluate, on what does the second leg of this particular challenge look like, and how will I get there? Um, because the other thing that, Coach Sherry, you've really managed through this quite successfully in being able to travel, when you had plans, and still achieve your goal and show up for yourself. I have travel planned in the next coming weeks that I'm like, "Oh, how am I going to do this?" Because when I did have to travel for Mother's Day, I barely made it. I barely made it. So yeah, but you figured it out. Um and I don't know if you had planned for, oh, okay, I think I'll be able to go between like this hour and this hour, so I'm just going to find whatever time I have, or, and that required a negotiation with your family too about, hey, this is a commitment that I've made to myself, and so I also still have to do this while we're doing our other things. Um so Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Because, yeah, one of my things I have planned is like a whole outing with my girlfriends. They gonna have to be okay with going on my live that day or something, because I have to honor this commitment to myself. And I think we have a whole weekend planned of, we're going to a concert and then a beach day. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. So that's what I'm gonna have to use the weekend for, is to figure out my plans on how I will still show up for myself, when I am traveling, but don't want to lose my live streak, because once you got the streak going, you don't want to break it. You really don't. Now, and unlike my Duolingo, see, on Duolingo, they they've gamified it in the way that it gives you a streak because the brain wants to continue it. But it lets you purchase workarounds to like not break your streak. So if you have enough like coins, and you don't log on for say 3 days, you can keep your streak intact. And so it doesn't have the same oomph that it would if there were no way out, right? There's I As far as this challenge and setting up saying I'm going to go live for 90 days, you either did it or you didn't. There's no coins that I can get to maintain my streak. And the other thing that I will do this weekend is what I learned in your live group share is some of that SEO um, reevaluation of maybe some of my past stuff. I definitely want to clean up my thumbnails and think about how I can make them more appropriate for whatever the content is. And there's some things that are just like, don't get me wrong, I love going to people's channels and going back to the very beginning and seeing kind of where they started and where they are now. But there's some things that just, when I think about the overall packaging of how I want my channel post challenge, that just don't fit. I used to love doing the motivation streams that were just um, music and some motivational quotes. But one, I don't think that really fits into the content that YouTube currently likes to monetize. Uh, since the growth of AI, there's so many kind of faceless channels like that they're not necessarily like what's the word I'm looking for? They're not adding something new to the content. Um, and nor was I really. Well, the quotes are my own. The affirmations are my own. But still. So there's some things that I need to go and edit. See, Coach Sherry, I don't. You could have been not been on there a year, and if you got enough points, I think they'll let you get your streak back. Um, well, okay. So now here's the thing, Coach Sherry, that I think is absolutely certain is to get to the monetization. It does have to be the combination of kind of how you've been approaching it of like, I do some lives, I do some shorts, I do some pre-recorded videos. But in addition to if you go live every day, it's the once, it's the one and done of it all that will keep it a very slow burn. You, I don't want to say flood the algorithm, but it's kind of like, don't let the algorithm forget you. So, in addition to the live streams, you probably still at least have to do like one video a week. So, that's what I'm hoping to, and why this is why I was saying I would like to have the live stream format be something that I can get repurposed because the video that I posted, the one other pre-recorded video that I've done in this challenge, yes, the consistency will definitely help with the growth and retention though, for sure, if you do that every day. Um, I, and picking that same like time too, that I know is part of your evolutionary goals is to have like, all right, this is my live stream time. Or maybe it's because of how your external work also maybe fluctuates. Maybe it's like, oh, I go live between 5 and 7. I mean, not a specific time, but like a window. I don't know. But the one video, oh, what I was saying was, the one video I did post that was the self care that won't break the bank is still one that I originally started as a live stream. And then I took a portion of that live stream and a combination of other content, and that made the new video. And that's what I would really love to get to is the ability to do that, where one portion of my live stream informs the other parts of the video. There's a there's a content creator that I think does this pretty well. What is his name? I want to say it's like Anton Daniels or something like that. I don't, or it goes by AD. Either way, he is a finance streamer. He does a live stream that's similar to, I don't know if you recall, uh, Dave Dave Ramsey still has a show, but like Susie Orman also used to have this show where people would like call in and ask her different finance questions, or she had this segment of like, can I afford that? And people would call in and give their scenarios about stuff they wanted to buy. Um, I really loved that show. The Susie Orman show was a good show. Anyway, so Anton show is kind of like that around like finance and entrepreneurship. And he, I think this is the one where he does it. At any rate, he'll like do the live stream, but then there'll be a like a tutorial type thing on his channel that part of the instruction that he was given was the same instruction that he just gave in the live stream. Like noticed it when I had literally just got out of the live stream and then it was posted the next day. Now I asked this question in the comments like, "Hey, do you just repurpose these?" But I never got an answer. Um, but that's the goal, is to start, some portion of, if it's something that I'm like teaching something, or, you know, doing some sort of story time, that I can do one portion of it in the live stream and then be able to use that to make the other videos. Because the other reason for doing that, and I maybe I'll put this in the second part of what I learned from the live stream channel thing too, is I've learned this in just noticing from other channels, and then from my own behavior. But this is from just going into other people's lives. Is that there are a couple, like, there are some viewers that are going to view your content regardless of what format it's in. And there are some people who just don't do live streams. Like, they're not going to go back and watch a live stream because they have this, perception about the live stream. And that's also why, yeah, my hope would have be to have a format that, um, like, say if you're talking about something, uh, where at least you facilitate the show or host the show in a way that it's like, yeah, let me get all this content out and then we'll do the more conversational part and the part where we talk. So that if someone were to come back to it later and they want to be able to consume it more like a podcast type thing, they aren't having to filter through you talking to people in the chat and interacting with them, which is not necessarily the part that they came for, but it could be for somebody who likes live streams, right? But for somebody who just wants to know, like, oh, I know Coach Sherry talks about workforce development and I get a lot of good value out of that workforce development stuff. I just want that. Um, it gives them another intro, way to come into your content. I wish I had an analogy of how I'm trying to think of it as. In that, yeah, if I don't know. I have the analogy on like the tip of my tongue. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a brand that I could think of that like they do so much in terms of the different type of product offerings that they have, but there's some things I'll just never buy from them. I can't think of one right now. But yeah, right. Like you said, that's why you recommend doing it all to accommodate all learning styles and accommodate all viewing styles. Yeah. And also, I think in trying to accommodate all those styles too, I'm also learning for myself what's my sweet spot, right? Like, what's the part that I really, really enjoy doing, so that is sustainable for me so that I won't likely get burnt out by it either because, oh, that part's really fun for me. So if in the end I find out like, I really just really don't like shorts, like I don't, it's not fun for me. Or if I'm gonna do short form content, I prefer it to be on TikTok. So I just don't want to do it here. Like that might be what, I decide is the right thing for me. Um, or it might be that I keep doing what I'm doing right now, which is like using some AI to take my long form content and like break it up then. Um, but I think that's a good thing about what YouTube is that it can handle all styles and it's established. That's although there are other social media platforms that maybe um like TikTok are more known for the short form, or um competitors that are trying to compete with YouTube, like Rumble. Um, uh, YouTube is about to be 25 years old next year. That's nothing to sneeze at in terms of like a company's ability to evolve and stay relevant for cons- generations of consumers at this point. Like it's nothing to sneeze at. Um, so I definitely want to figure out how to make this thing work and before that 25th anniversary, because if YouTube turns 25 next year, best believe there's going to be some sort of push all year long, and I want to have built myself up before then on like have a rhythm, have an established channel here before YouTube is talking all about that. But hold on, let me before I go, I'm just going to reconfirm YouTube's birthday because yeah, I forgot what was going on, but it was something about they do the videos or conferences about like new features or whatever kind of thing. So it was something about that had come out, or something about the new CEO. Um, Whatever it was something that made me realize and just like say, wait a minute, YouTube was started in that year. That means um, da 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 da. But according to the interwebs, okay, and I'm not going to use Wiki because, yeah, you can't trust Wiki. I'm sorry. My point of correction. It's not 25. YouTube turns 20 next year. But YouTube was founded on February 14th, 2005. So on February for Valentine's Day 2025, YouTube will be 20 years old. And yeah, I'm trying to be there in the celebration as someone who just monetized their channel within the last year. Because exactly 20 is still a significant year. And so here we are working towards that, reverse engineering our journey to that 20-year celebration where we will join YouTube and celebrating this platform existing to help create connection across the globe, to help entertain people, make others feel not so lonely, help people learn new information. Um, there's so many things that YouTube has done to add value and will continue to do. And somehow, Coach Sherry, I am absolutely certain that you can play off that and use that to your unique advantage as you continue your journey. Because that's definitely something that is unique to you on this platform. Well, one of the things that the amalgamation of all the aspects that you bring, that's one thing now. So, um, yeah, I think it is definitely going to. I just can't wait to see how it changes things because it it's definitely going to change things. In terms of if you think about just the stages of a business and its own uh, its own maturity and how they grow, things are going to continue to change. And because of, I mean, even now, you've seen it in that the fact that YouTube Shorts even exist, right? That's YouTube continuing to change to respond to the market because there were other competitors that were taking attention away from the eyeballs they had on this platform. So I can't imagine how it's going to change over the next year as YouTube gets ready to turn 20. But I know I want to be there when it happens. And I feel like, monetization is an objective standard on how included or not one will be in said celebration. So, got to get there before YouTube gets 20, and we're going to try to get there by continuing on this journey of 90 consecutive live stream days. That's our Win Wednesday chat. And tomorrow on Thrive Thursday, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but what I do know is that I will be here, and that is my last work day before Memorial Weekend. So let the celebration begin. Have a great night, and I hope to see y'all tomorrow for what will officially be day 50. Like for real, for real. Day 50, take two is tomorrow. Have a good night.